Hello there, everybody. It is Deandra Gay here. I'm hoping you can hear me and see me. I'm going to check to make sure I'm showing up on the Fempire. It is Monday night, 8:30. I'm here to do a lovely training on follow-up. So I will wait for more people to join in. I can't wait. So excited to be here. And I've just moved my house, so please excuse. I'm not as maybe made up as I could be or should be, but it's been it's been a week of moving, so I'm a little disheveled, but it's always fun to move. Lots of purging going on, lots of fun new stuff. So, but I'm excited. I'm excited to come to you. For those that I haven't met, again, Deandra Gay, and I'm here in Westport, Connecticut. And when I had been 8 years before at Stellandot, I had done a lot of training on follow-up because I am adamant about it. I think it's one of the reasons I think I had a successful business, but I think why women and men do very well in this industry is it's so much about follow-up in our world, especially with so many jobs, but especially sales and especially direct sales. So I'm really excited. I've got lots of notes here to share with you. So I'm just going to wait for a few more of you to chime in and let me make sure that I'm working here on the page because I'd hate to be babbling and not working. Okay, there we are. Great. All right. Hi, ladies. Hi, Christina and Lauren. And okay, good. So we're getting all of you on there. So okay, great. Well, I'll jump in because I know many of you are gonna watch live, and if you can't, you're gonna do the playback. So again, I'm here to talk all about follow-up, and I think. So much of our business, being in sales, but we're all, independent beauty guides in this industry, and it's our pace, our way, it's our personality, it's us adding our own flair. Really it's our business and what we want to put into it. And with follow-up, it has to be the same thing. It has to be, you putting your stamp on what it is and what it is you're selling, what it is you're sharing. And I really like to say sharing more than selling because I think that's very important. I think it's, important to always be sharing the product and proud of it. But I think it all starts with confidence and it starts with a little bit more of the mindset. And I think so many times before people would say, oh, I don't want to be pushy. I don't want to sound, too overbearing. I don't want to, there's all these things that get in your head, right? Well, get all of that out of your head because I don't think you're going to be thorough in your actual follow-up and in your attempt to follow up and in your systems if you're not confident in where you're coming from, because you have to know that Limelight is an incredible product. There's this amazing all natural skincare. There's this amazing professional makeup. It's effective. It's affordable. You've got all these talking points. So when you are following up and after you've taking the time to reach out, you have to have systems in place and you have to follow up. And a lot of you, I had actually trained a little bit on the sponsoring side of follow up. And we talked a lot about, really how there's the marketing rule of 7, where it's going to take people a few times to come in contact with Limelight or businesses in general before they make a decision, before they buy the product, before they jump in as your next team member. So with follow up, mark it down. Keep track of how much you're in contact with everyone. And, keep it personal. Like one of my biggest tips for follow-up is it has to be personal. So many people, I think, unfortunately get in a little bit of a habit where they post something on social media and they might comment back to them on the wall or on their main post. And that's not follow-up. That might be commenting. And yes, that's great because you're going to keep it live in the feed and you're going to show the camaraderie and you're going to respond back. But you have to take that offline and go private and message them one-on-one. Or if you know them well enough, pick up the phone, call them, text them, whatever it is. But I think keeping it personal and really being very thorough is huge. So again, I think, again, it's starting with your confidence, your mindset, and these are all sort of talking points that I'm going through of like my bigger over broad strokes of follow-up and what will make it effective and efficient and more powerful. So just keep that in mind. A lot of people think that, a lot of people are interested in maybe what they're sharing, and then they're sending out these big emails to a mass amount of people, and they think that's like sort of their follow-up. And it's not. Like you can check the box, but that's not really your thorough follow-up. So again, whether it's Facebook messaging one-on-one to that person, whether it's texting, whether it's calling, whether it's emailing, whether it's meeting them in person, whatever it is, make sure it's personal and one-on-one. My next thing is track it. Track. Like, I cannot tell you how much that we have to really work on what we're doing. Like, so many times people say, oh, I've got sticky notes everywhere and I'm, sort of all over the place. And I think I've called her. I'm not sure if I've emailed her. I think we spoke like 2 weeks ago, but maybe she's sampled some stuff, like all these. Okay, if you're that person that you're like, okay, that sounds so familiar. Okay, get a tracker. So I'll post this, but this is an example. I'm a little bit more of a paper person sometimes. I also keep lists in the computer. So you guys figure out, are you a notebook person? Are you a tracker by paper? And again, there's buckets of ways to organize this business, which we're going to talk about. So I've got a few of these, whether you're talking to a hostess, a customer, someone that's sampled. So keep your trackers. Again, you could do the same thing, and I'll post these, but you can do the same thing also right on your computer as a spreadsheet. I'm not an Excel girl. That like Excel and I are like oil and water. But if you're an Excel person, do the same thing. But just whatever you do, have the tracker. And my biggest piece of advice too is if you are a paper person or if you're a computer person, print it out. When I get in the car and I'm waiting for my son in his carpool line and I've got an extra 20 minutes, I'm going through this list. I'm using my time wisely. And I've always got these with me because you're always needing to follow up with someone, right? And as organized as you are is going to be that much more efficient with your follow-up. And I really encourage you because you'll find yourself, it's so systematic and streamlined when you do that. And again, so let's talk about the buckets of people. It was a little different before when I was in accessories and at Stall & Dot because we weren't sampling products. That was very different. So skincare and beauty is different. I'm learning still. I've only been doing this 5 months now. But this is my go-to for you is that bucket your business. So you've got people that you're sending samples to. We all know that we're sending samples to people. We have the people that have bought from us. We have people that are, interested. And so those are the people that we're, again, sending samples to. Bucket your people. You've got those people you're following up with that are prospective beauty guides. And then you've also got people that maybe are going to be a hostess, pop-up shop. So it's really like those 4 main buckets of people. And you should have a tracker for each bucket in your business because that's who you're following up with. And so many times, we talk about, gosh, someone said that on even a Facebook post that I did or an Instagram post that they were interested in the product, but they haven't actually ordered. Okay, you have to track that. And if they haven't ordered and they keep saying they're going to, you know what? Without them knowing it, pop a sample in the mail or just simply say, you know what? I'm actually going to just send you a sample. I would love these, our packets came back in stock. And offer that. Take the time to send out those samples. It might get them over the hump, but then you have to track that to know who you've sent to, who you haven't, who's still on your list, because then you've got all the people that are prospective customers from sending out the samples. Once they become purchasing and they're a customer of yours, well, you know what? That's your number one person that could host, or then they become a beauty guide. So there's the phases of follow-up that create a very successful business. So again, and then get a new routine with it, with your follow-up. For my business, since the day I started 8 years ago, my mind has always worked much better to do a reach out on the beginning of the week, Mondays and Tuesdays, maybe even Sunday nights. I'm warming people up. So whether it's reaching out, whether you're trying to book a little pop-up, whether you're talking to them about an upcoming opportunity, them being a beauty guide, whether it is sampling, whatever it is, I try to do my reaching out Mondays and Tuesdays, beginning of the week, and then I'm doing my follow-up Thursdays and Fridays. And again, I always have called it Follow-Up Friday because it keeps me accountable. So then I've got a system in place of when I'm doing it. And then in the meantime, if I've got time throughout my week, whether I'm not doing coaching calls, I'm not actually doing pop-ups, one-on-ones, then any extra time, I'm always following up because that's the biggest part of our business. I really think, yes, the reaching out, but it's sealing the deal. It's doing for sure, all the follow-up. And I always say, and I'm looking at my notes because I have so much I want to say. I don't want to forget anything. So my next thing is, hi everyone. I'm so glad everyone's, jumping in here. Hey, Corinne. So the next thing is, sort of the 5 phases of follow-up. And I think that this is, also good to sort of track your efforts. But the first one is also making sure you're confirming that you even got the information you sent. So if you've sent them a text and they haven't responded, I know all the time I open up someone's text. If you can't see it. It says, once you've opened it, it doesn't show that you haven't read it. So I wish you could mark it like that. Maybe there's a way to do that and I don't know it. But my point is that go make sure that you're making sure that people have even gotten your texts. Pick up the phone call. If you've texted them, they haven't responded, pick up the phone. So just confirm if you've sent out samples, your first follow-up should be, I just want to make sure you receive my package. Little things like that. And then right there, that can start the dialogue. So just be very thorough. If you're going to spend the time sending something in the mail, I'm always offering to send the product guide. Yes, samples as well. And I'll send it together. They need to get our product guide in their hands. It's beautiful. Our branding is fantastic. So confirm that they've actually received the information. That's number one. Number two is set a time to talk. In person, the best. If they're not local, get on the phone, do a Zoom chat, whatever it is. But again, get personal with them and get them as much as you can on the phone. I set up coffee chats where I'm doing them on the computer with them. And again, it's just a great way to follow up with them because it's so personal and it's, again, face to face, which you can't beat that. And then again, another phase of the follow up is actually trying the product if they're wanting to order, but they're a little bit on the fence. Again, get those samples in their hands. They're going to love it. We all know people love Limelight. And then again, if you're on the side of, with the bucket of people like we talked about before, if it's someone that's a prospective beauty guide, invite them to one of your events. If you're doing a pop-up and you think they'd like to come and see that in person, again, invite them. The more you can get the product in front of people, meet them in person and show sort of the excitement behind it. And your follow-up really should have excitement. It should have the passion of what you're sharing. And then obviously, the last thing, your last is that if there's been a lag time between your follow-up is making sure that you're giving new information. As you see, I feel like every day we've got more items coming back in stock. We've got now new lip liners launching, foundation launching. I mean, you name it, this company's on fire. So update someone with new information and it can be a great way to circle back with them. So that's just a little bit about the phases of follow-up. And again, I wanted to reiterate that when you are doing your follow-up, again, I know that we all worry about sounding pushy, but I really think the people that worry about that should worry the least. I think if you really are conscientious, you're never going to come across as pushy. What I like to say is I'm being very thorough, I'm being very persistent in a very professional way. It's my business. I work this full time. I'm going to follow up until I get a no or a no thank you or not right now. But I really make sure at least I'm dotting my I's, crossing the T's to know that I've done my job at making sure they have all the information. They've tried the product. If it's not right for them, if they don't want to join, this at this time in their lives, whatever it is, in the buckets of people, then at least, but you've done your thing. The next thing I wanted to say in regard to follow up is silence. I think so many people think, okay, what do I do? Someone's not responding. And again, while you're listening tonight, if you have questions, I will try to, hi everyone, I will try to answer questions as we go. So feel free if you have exact words to say or something, post away. Okay, so silence does not mean no. And I really encourage you to get in there a little bit with your follow-up when someone doesn't respond because email is a black hole. We all know it. Text, like I was just saying, you open a text, you forget about it, you're on to the next thing, you got kids at your feet, you're at a sporting event, Facebook message, the same thing. You might be live, you might see it ding on your computer and there it is. And the next thing you know, you've left your desk, you've come back and it's gone. We're all very busy people, but you just have to make sure that you're doing more points of contact and that silence does not mean no. You have to do the phases of follow-up. And, again, there's the reach out, there's the follow-up first, maybe to make sure they've gotten their package. And then it's, keeping following up until you hear from them. If there's especially that initial interest from someone, if you're reaching out blind to someone, they haven't asked you for the information, maybe that's different. Maybe they're genuinely not interested. They don't want to try the product. If you're going blind on that, okay, you use your gut. I think we all know when someone's maybe not interested or they're really not responding. But if it's someone, again, especially, you're usually reaching out to someone because they've started a dialogue. They've asked you about the product. You've passed them in town. You've gotten a comment on your Instagram or Facebook, YouTube, whatever it is. There's a reason that we're usually reaching out. So just don't feel like just because they haven't gotten back to you that they're not interested. You have to continue to follow up. And again, don't always go back as a follow-up with just the same information because it's you're like, hello, are you there? Hi, I'm back. Hi, are you there? You don't want to do that. But what you want to do is say, Hey, I know I sent you a follow-up. I wanted to make sure you had gotten the package, but listen, there's some great new information I wanted to share with you. Our mascara's back in stock, or we have these new foundations. So sort of use another vehicle to get in touch with them that might interest them, but it does circle them back to the original reason you had gotten in touch with them. And so, for example, I have a customer right now who wanted the Not Telling lipstick. I hadn't heard from her. I know she's busy. She sells etc. She's running around just like me, but I hadn't heard from her. I was a little surprised. And so I did bring up the fact that we had these new lip liners today, and she was, got right back to me. How exciting. That's so great. And yes, by the way, so sorry I hadn't gotten back to you. Thank you. I do want the Not Telling. Please, order for me. So again, I use another excuse in a good way to update her on something else, but it, understandably brought us back to the original reason we were having our dialogue. So kind of be sassy and a little, sassy, but also sort of, maybe it doesn't have to be so direct with your follow-up. You can kind of use other ways and create more of a fun relationship with it. Have fun with it is my point. Don't make it feel like it's this, stressful thing and you're, haunting people down, and it's not any of that. But I do think too many times we get in our own heads. So don't do that. So yeah, I was just writing down some ideas. So circling back with updates, back in stock items that are, going to be launched that we, the Ricky mirror that's coming back. I mean, all the above. And then another layer to your follow-up, is that I really think it's important to always end your conversation, whether it's, again, your email, your text, that you're going to follow up with them again. Because it makes them feel like, okay, well, good, that's so great. I mean, that's obviously professional, but it makes them feel like they should give you an answer, which they should. Again, these are just sort of sales tactics that if you're saying to someone, all right, great, well, I hope to hear from you. That sounds very different than you saying to someone, listen, I hope you love the samples. I will follow up with you in a few days. I can't wait to hear what you love the most, or what you're loving, how you love the colors. So they know you're going to follow up with them. So when you go to follow up with them, there you are. It's not a surprise. You just said to them 3 days ago you were going to follow up. And again, it's you can spread it apart. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, you're reaching out. Thursday, Friday, you're following up. So that's just another layer of your follow-up that, again, I don't think you should ever leave your follow-up so open-ended, because you need to make it a little bit more, you're running a full-time business. You're a successful person. You're not just sort of flailing around waiting for answers. You would like an answer. And if not, you're going to move on, So I'm starting to get some questions. So I'm going to scan through here. So let's see. How soon should I follow up after a vendor event? I think immediately, Teresa Packard. Hello there. I think immediately. I think you should, when it's fresh in their mind. I think if you let too much go by, too much time, they kind of forget who you are. Your face isn't as fresh in their minds. And I think it's really professional to follow up right away. I usually like to say, it was so nice seeing you on yesterday. If it's a Saturday event, maybe Sunday is too soon and we're all with our family on Sunday. So on Monday, you're saying to them, hey, it was so nice to see you on Saturday. So it's just the day before yesterday. So Teresa, I hope that helps. But I think the sooner the better. It's more fresh in their minds. Just think about like when you talk to someone and that's been like days later, sort of like, okay, so what did we talk about? And what did she look like? So really, I say the sooner the better. So Lindsay is asking, what if they come back with some negative feedback, and you responded and they go silent? So I think, negative feedback, what I try to turn that into is positive feedback. And what I always say, and I rarely even truly get negative feedback, because I think people really do love Limelight. But if I do get negative feedback, I really will ask, well, tell me a little bit more, like, what is it? Because what I try to do is explain to them, or on the other side, maybe if they had a reaction, well, that might just be their skin. That's not necessarily a Limelight product, but maybe we could try something else. I try to get them to kind of go into the next conversation, find out more information from them. Don't let them just sort of shut it down. I really do try to turn it into more of a dialogue. And a lot of times you can turn that into something. And, someone that thought she was really dry skin, she actually wasn't. She was more oily. So we actually sent her the wrong product. I'm like, oh, wait a minute, tell me more about your skin, because that doesn't sound right. And then, now the product's working great for her. So again, have more of a dialogue with these people that you're speaking to. Okay, and then Kayla, you're asking, what should you do with someone that makes a negative post about Limelight after they've tried it and they tag you in it? That is very bizarre. I've never seen someone do that. And that sounds very catty. So I'm sorry that happened to you. I would something like that, I would just say, honestly, Limelight is such a successful brand. We are booming and people are loving us. If you had a bad reaction, I'm so sorry, but people really are loving our brand. And I would sort of like stay away from that. I feel like people that are that negative, I would just sort of move on and I would not get too involved with that. I hope that helps. If you have a specific scenario, I could always talk to you later about that. But I really, again, I think you should just come from the most confidence of these conversations. I mean, again, there's a reason this company is growing so fast. We're selling so much, why the products are doing so well. And so I use that to our advantage. I just say to people, honestly, like, you should try these products. And again, they're all natural. And for the skincare, it's all natural and it's effective. It's affordable. Like, make sure they understand that. Don't assume people know what Limelight is. A lot of people don't know what Limelight is. They don't know about the product. So just make sure they really do understand the history of the company and why the products are so special. Okay, so I'm going to keep going. If you have more questions. And yes, Kathy, some people are just miserable. Yes. So those people that are negative Nellies, stay away. They're just trying to bring you down, and you know what? You're way up here. So just keep on going. And it's their opinion, but there's a lot of other people with an opinion that's way different than that. Okay. So no for now. I do think a lot of people are saying no for now because, again, maybe they're on a budget. Maybe they're too stressed out and they can't wrap their head around it. I know I've been moving for a week and I couldn't make one decision for the last week. But I don't think no for now is no forever. So I, again, track your, this guide that I have, these trackers, and again, I'll post them, but I do also keep one. I know we talked about the 4 buckets of people. I also keep one that's no for now. Whether it's a customer or prospective beauty guide, I don't take people really ever off my list that I've had a dialogue with, because life changes. If they're interested in joining this amazing thing, but they're stressed out, well, what happens if they lose their job? What happens if their husband loses their job? What if all of a sudden they're not happy in their job? People's lives change. So keep them up to date. Maybe they are using a lot of product right now, so they don't want to buy Limelight. Well, they're going to run out of the product. So circle back with them in 3 months. Say, I know it wasn't a great time. I know but in case you've run out of your product, you're, now at a place where you're willing to want to maybe try some new products. Well, I'd love to send you some samples. So again, keep those dialogues going. Keep them on your list for sure. And then yes, Teresa, no is the beginning of a relationship. I totally agree. And turn these no's into yeses for sure. And then one of the big things I wanted to talk about, which I really think I've turned so many either getting the yes or the no from people that don't respond. And what I like to do is, if it's really been someone, especially I really am coming from a place of those people that have, realizing I'm looking very shiny, so I'm not sure why I'm looking so shiny. One of the things I like to try to do is really sort of let them off the hook, but in a great way so I can get a response. So for those people, for example, that have reached out to you, commented on Facebook, Instagram, asked for information, all those people that you're in dialogues with where they really genuinely have been interested, if they don't get back to you and you're like kind of stumped as to like what's going on, like why wouldn't they get back to me? That's really kind of bizarre. I like to use words that will really get them to respond, because I either want to take their no and move on and add them to my no for now list, or take the yes and move my business forward with them. And so some of the things that I say to them as an example, some words to say, you can use these as you wish. If they don't sound right to you, no good, all good. But something I say, whether it's an email or text, is, let me know, I haven't heard back from you. Let me know if you'd like me to take you off my follow-up list. I never want to follow up if it wasn't the right time for you. Something like that, where it's, you can take them off your follow-up list. Or, if I don't hear from you, I'll assume that you're good to go and you don't need any of that product. So something where it might say to them, oh gosh, I feel so bad I haven't responded to her. Or, oh my gosh, she's right. I haven't, it's been a few times and she's follow up. That's so silly of me. And so many times what that does is to the conversation is that person will either email back sooner than later and say, I'm so sorry. I feel so bad that I haven't gotten back to you. And she'll either give me the no, like, I don't want to host a party right now. I'm not interested in product, not right for the beauty guide. Or they'll say, I'm so sorry I haven't gotten back to you. I've had this, and this going on in my life. And usually, unfortunately, there's a terrible situation, which we all know we're busy, right? But they'll say, but I am. And they'll thank me for following up. They'll thank me for the effort to continue to follow up. And then there you go. You're on to the next thing with them. So I really do think that if you need to sort of make a break in that follow up with that person, that is something that, oh, I'm losing my light. I haven't charged enough. That is something you should do for sure. So those are words to say, definitely. Yeah, with my move, I didn't charge my Ricky. Oh, well. So that is great. And let me see if I can get some of these questions answered. And then someone that really loves the products and says they want to purchase soon and then they don't. Okay, but that's again, so for Ashley, that is all about your follow-up. That is all about saying, taking the convenience and doing it for them. Again, I had a friend yesterday, she had said she wanted to order and then I noticed that she hadn't. I had her on my list. I didn't see an order come in. I'm always scanning my orders to see who's ordered, who hasn't. And then I'll email, call, text, whatever it is, and say, hey, listen, I noticed I didn't see your order. No problem. If you're not wanting product, all good. But if you'd rather me just put the orders in for you, I'm happy to do that. I'm actually putting in orders at my desk right now. And that right there, they'll be like, oh, I would love that. That's so great. Can you please put it in for me? Sure. Why don't you text me or call me right now and I'll grab your credit card. So again, you're the personal beauty guide. Be sure to reach out and give them that service because they deserve it, right? That's direct sales. It's giving them service, using our relationships to make it easier for them. So as much as I can in my follow-up, I'm always offering to put the orders in for them. I'm always offering to, like, what other information can I send you? Whatever it is. But that really does help. And again, if it's someone that's, not getting back to you in regard to actually becoming a team member, and interested in the opportunity, making sure you're talking through their apprehensions in your follow-up. Because so many times I think people either don't understand the business, they don't know enough about Limelight, they don't know enough about direct sales in general. And you need to follow up and make sure that your conversation speaks to that. If they're not getting back, let me know if you'd like to talk about, the ins and outs of the industry, and let me know what your apprehensions are if they're leaning towards no and I'm not really sure. Again, there's the marketing rule of 7. It's going to take people time. It's not going to be overnight, especially when it comes to joining and starting a new business. We all know not everyone's just going to jump in after, 5 minutes. They're maybe going to try the samples. They're going to want to come to an opportunity event or see a pop-up or all these layers of our business. They're going to want to do all of that. So that is why I'm saying, all of this follow-up is so important, because you need to remember for each person, what have you done to get them across that finish line? So it's been about half an hour. I don't want to take up too much time. Let me see if I've got some more questions here. Okay, so someone's asking about putting in, Casey's asking about putting in orders for people. Do you make them a new account and get their credit card information, or do you have them pay you by check? No, I place orders for everyone, Casey, underneath their name. And what I do is I have a folder here. If I don't knock over, sorry, okay, I'm not going to pull it out right now, but I have a whole folder. I keep every customer order in a folder, every single customer. Then if someone were to do it more of a Facebook where they're not one-on-one person writing down an order, I actually take their information and start a whole new order for their online order, and I write down their credit card, and then I always have their information. So anytime they need another order, I've already got their credit card written down. I'll say to them, do you mind if I save this in a file? I've got it written down on a piece of paper in a confidential file. Anytime you need an order done, I can do it for you. So I'm very open about that with them, and everyone is like, yes, keep my credit card, because they all know they're going to want to order product. So I do it for them in their account name with their credit card, and we're all good to go. Okay, great. So I hope that's helpful. Any other questions? I'll see if any other questions are coming in. But really, I think that my biggest thing for all of you listening is have that confidence and be organized. Have the confidence to follow up. You're not being pushy. You need to be thorough. You really need to track your efforts. Again, when we get off, I'm going to post all of these great trackers that we've done for our team, Brilliance. But it really is about tracking those efforts and not, I don't stop with people. I don't stop until I've gotten the no. And so many times for 8 years, I get more thank you for continuing to follow up with me. I just haven't had the time, or now is a better time for me to join your team, or whatever it is, but I'm really thorough with it. And again, I have fun with it. I create a little bit of dialogue and, oh my gosh, what a busy weekend. I was on the soccer field. Where were you? Create that dialogue. And again, especially if it's someone that wants to join your team, you want to have that dialogue. They want to join someone's team that they're creating more of a friendship with, right? And same with, someone like going into a retail store, it's so much more fun shopping with someone when they're getting your clothing and you're having fun. Same thing with this. If you're, doing customer orders and you're following up, it's not just like the constant limelight, start a little dialogue about something else, So my favorite samples to send, Shayna, I love, when I first started, I mean, I had never used Must Do. I was like, that is the bomb. Like, it's just, not a lot of people know what an oil booster is. The smell is fantastic. I have more dry skin, so, excuse me, I just love that. So I always send, for sure, a sample of the Must Do. I sell a ton of our bamboo scrub. I didn't have a good bamboo scrub. I didn't have a good scrub. I love the way it's not oily. You're not going to slip in the shower. People love it. Always send bamboo. I also, the cleanser. I mean, I think I send a lot of samples. I think it's really depending on what skin type they have. But I think across the board, I'm usually definitely sending the Must Do and probably the Dream Clean mostly. And I'm making sure that I'm marketing our business to both the teenagers and the older generation. And of course the Sotox. I mean, yeah, who doesn't love the Sotox? But again, people have allergies, so maybe that's not going to be perfect for everyone. Okay, creating accounts involves creating passwords. How do you handle that? Well, usually, I mean, I'm just placing them towards a lot of the trunk shows that I'm doing. A lot of these customer orders are either going towards online trunk shows that I've done, in-person one-on-ones that I'm doing towards, open houses that I'm doing. So I'm not creating a whole account for them, but I'm actually placing the order, towards one of the shows that's going on. So I hope that answers your questions. Yes, tenacity. You have to have tenacity, Monica. Exactly right. And I love it. All the comments you guys are giving. And then you have words to say. Yeah, I hope all the words to say are helpful for you guys. So yeah, let me just see if there's any other questions you guys have. And if you want to message me, I'm happy to chat more on follow-up, but I hope this was really helpful. And again, just remember the different layers. Think of your business in buckets. Again, you've got sort of those 4 main buckets of people. So put your follow-up into buckets and have a system in place. And I know that can get into a whole thing with time management, but again, be organized, and if it helps you beginning of the week, later in the week with reaching out and following up. But if you guys are going to spend the time in sending a product guide or sending those samples, reaching out and doing all that, you have to follow up. It's such a waste of time to have all the effort out and then it fall flat. And my whole thing is always efforts out, results in. So I wish you guys all the best. Good luck. Hope it works. Let me know if I can answer any other questions for you, and I will post these trackers. And cheers, ladies. Again, this is your business. It's your way. If you're a computer person, paper, whatever works, just do what's best for you, but just follow up. All right. Cheers, ladies. Talk to you soon. Bye.